Oh, man. Are we live? What the heck? Hey, we are here. College football Saturdays. Man, we've been covering college football a long time in the terrestrial radio medium. Here we are in the infancy of our YouTube channel. I'm Scott, your host of the Teal Shirt Report podcast, where we have a website at bigjreport.com. Check that out. We got high school scores up on the website. Please subscribe to our channel. Then you won't miss anything. We're going to have some interviews that are going to be coming up in a few days. So we're kind of building this thing, especially the YouTube channel is so new now. We're building this thing from the ground up. We're absolutely building this thing from the ground up. So check us out. Teal Shirt Report podcast. This is actually what you call a live stream. So if you're here, come on in. Come on in. College football is going to be wild today. I mean, you got, I'm watching the Fox college football pregame show. Urban Meyer was on there. Charles Woodson. What's Charles Woodson doing? He's jumping up and down on his shirt. My goodness. So you're here. Teal Shirt Report podcast. I really didn't give out my NFL picks, but I got involved with it. Sometimes I do a poll, more of a for fun thing. There's a couple of bucks involved, but not much. Let's see. I'll give you my winners today. They won't all win. Don't bet the farm on any of them. But hey, we're here live. Teal Shirt Report podcast. I got the coffee. Thank goodness for the old coffee, boy. He hooked me up good today. I want to say hello to our executive producer, JC. Alex Nunnery is helping to get the YouTube channel out there. And if you're here live with us, please comment on things we're doing. Be nice, be respectful. And if you have something pertinent, please put it in the comments. Please subscribe to our channel. There's a lot of good college football games today. One that kind of, and we all know that Texas at Michigan is huge. One of the lines, and again, in most circles, the Texas Longhorns, based on their quarterback room, they're favored in this game. Texas, I think, is ranked in some polls as high as third in the nation, maybe as high as second. Michigan is 10th, coming off the national championship season. Good old Jim Harbaugh coached him, and now he's in the NFL. I was hoping we'd have got Harbaugh with the Jaguars a few years ago, but now he decided to take the LA Chargers job. The Jaguars, of course, are fully entrenched with Coach Doug Peterson now. When I talk about my picks in the football poll, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, I had Kansas City on Thursday night to win and to cover. I had the Philadelphia Eagles to win and cover. These were close spreads where I got -3 on Kansas City, and they won by 7. Kansas City Chiefs 27, Baltimore Ravens 20. I just think, Lamar is a good quarterback, but he has trouble with good defensive backs. And I'm not talking about the good or the ugly. I'm talking about the highest guys, at the highest level. And I know maybe there had been some changes in the KC defensive backfield, but they got good coaching. Kansas City's got good coaching from Andy Reid, the head man. He's always confident and comfortable with his assistants that he has. Kansas City beat Baltimore. Kansas City Chiefs 27, Baltimore Ravens 20. I had Kansas City to cover. Let's see. I had, when I did the pool a couple of days back, Kansas City, the spread was 3 points. Kansas City favored by 3 by most of the circle of Vegas folks. Kansas City won by 7. I picked, and the pool is based on the spread. That makes it harder, right? I picked Kansas City to win and cover the 3 points. They did. They won 27-20. Then, lo and behold, it was a darn Friday night game. And John Gaylor told me that the quarterback, Jordan Love's already gotten hurt. I don't even know who the backup is, but I took Philadelphia. I do have Jalen Hurts on one of my fantasy football teams. And he threw a couple of touchdown passes, threw a couple of picks too, but they still won the game. And they scored a substantial amount of points. Saquon Barkley with a couple of touchdowns in the Friday night game. I think, Jalen Hurts had a good game. 2 touchdowns, but 2 picks. Saquon Barkley, a couple of touchdown runs. And, man, I don't usually get off to that good of a start. Normally, I'll go down with the football pool early, and then I start winning some on Sunday. So I think I usually do better on Sunday than, say the Thursday night game, or sometimes NFL does Saturday games, and now they're doing Friday games. Maybe that's just to kick off the season. I kind of think Friday should be reserved for high school football. I think the colleges and the NFL should leave Friday nights alone. As far as high school football goes, my Ed White Commanders, their game got postponed due to weather out in the West Side. At West Side, the West Side Wolverines. That's a big rival. West Side used to be known as the Forest Rebels. They're the West Side Wolverines now. The game was scheduled at West Side. The game was canceled or basically postponed, and they are playing now as we speak. They're playing a Saturday morning game at West Side. I guess the rain, the flood water receded, the rain, the wet rain drying out. I mean, we got during about a 48-hour period, we got like over 7 inches of rain at World Headquarters. We had puddles out here in outside the building in the cobblestone studio. There were puddles out there, man. I got worried. Said might have to go to higher ground because it's worse in some places like San Marco, Moncrief area, University Boulevard. All these areas are kind of low lying, and man, there was some bad floods. San Marco, Park Street, even on the West Side, Riverside, some of those low areas on Park Street really got flood waters. At World Headquarters, we got some puddles in the grass, in the mud, in the cobblestones, but it dried out quickly. I'm glad you guys are here. If you're here live, great. I understand YouTube will always, when we do a live stream, YouTube will play it back or leave it there where you can watch it at any time. So that's great. We'll probably make this a short one and come back later because I got to go pick up some dry cleaning. My Jacksonville Jaguars hoodies being dry cleaned. And that's going to be for the winter. It's going to be, man, the thing got wet during the rain too, because I did try to wear it when it was raining here a couple of weeks back, 2-3 weeks back. We got about 1 inch of rain at World Headquarters the last week in August, but now the first week in September, well over 7 inches of rain. Okay, so we'll just tell you we're doing okay in the NFL. 2-0 versus the spread. You can't beat that. College football games, Iowa State playing at Iowa, Hawkeyes and the Cyclones. That's a big rival. They're both in 2 different conferences. Iowa State in the Big 12, along with a lot of other teams now. College football has changed. Conference realignment, major conference realignment going on. I'm not really a big fan of it. Iowa stays in the Big 10, and Iowa State at last I heard still in the Big 12. Central Florida is in the Big 12, and there's a lot of changes. A must win. I think they got to really blow Sanford out and make a statement. Billy Napier, it seemed like, based on what I heard through Facebook posts, press conferences, man, the Miami defense and the Miami defensive coordinator, they seemed to know what plays were coming. And it really hurt Florida, particularly on when they tried to make third down conversions. And Florida got smoked by the Miami Hurricanes week 1, 41-17. So big games in college football, and we'll talk about all of them, but just some that come to mind. The biggest one's got to be, because both these teams are top 10 ranked, Texas playing in Michigan. I took Michigan in the pool, but man, I'm getting 7.5 points. 7.5 points. Texas favored by 7.5. I think that's too many points at Michigan. Texas is ranked third in some polls or one of the polls, and Michigan's 10th. Michigan maybe not as strong as their team last year. The quarterback's in the NFL, and I understand he's actually got hurt now. The guy who's he with, Minnesota? I believe he's with Minnesota, and he got hurt already. I can't think of his name right now, but that's a quarterback that played at Michigan last year. But Texas and college football rosters, and the college football teams, they change every year now. NIL, the immediate transfer portal. Major conference realignment. Michigan's still in the Big Ten, but so is USC. UCLA's in the Big Ten now. Oregon, Washington, a team or maybe another team or two I'm not thinking of, but there's a lot of teams in the Big Ten. The Big Ten's got what, 18 teams now, I think? 17, 18 teams. We'll have to count them out. So I took Michigan. I like the points there. Texas favored by 7.5. Michigan's at home. And I just can't see Texas blowing Michigan out at home. And any more than 7 points would be considered kind of a blowout. Maybe the people in Vegas thinks Texas is going to win by 8. Well, they think they're going to win by 7.5. There's no such thing as a half point, but you understand what I'm talking about. So I took Michigan. Georgia Tech beat Florida State on the first game of the season back on August 24, 24-21. It turns out Florida State got beat again by a pretty darn good and well-coached Boston College team. I'm going to take Syracuse because Georgia Tech is actually favored by 3 points at Syracuse. So I'll take the points at home with Syracuse. Arkansas at Oklahoma State. Man, I was torn on this one, but I took Arkansas because it's 7.5 points. It is at Oklahoma State, but I think Arkansas they're probably one of the basement teams in the SEC, but I still like their coach. I think they'll get up for this game. It's kind of like an old time. I don't think Oklahoma State was ever in the. Oklahoma State was never in the Southwest Conference, were they? Well, it's hard to keep up with who was where and when. I remember I loved the old Southwest Conference with Arkansas, Texas, but not as much as I loved the old SEC. Always my favorite conference from way back in the early 70s. I took Arkansas. They're getting 7.5 points. Now, Tennessee is a different story. There's only 4 college football games in the pool I'm in. We got Tennessee at North Carolina State. Tennessee's an 8-point favorite. I think Tennessee, with the new wide receivers they've got, Heupel is going to try to throw up some points. I think Tennessee will cover the 8 points. So I've got Tennessee, Arkansas, Syracuse, and Michigan against the spread today in college football. There were 4 college football games in the pool, and the water is warm so far because I won the Thursday night and Friday night game with Kansas City and Philadelphia both covering because I took Kansas City Chiefs, Philadelphia Eagles, 2-0 against the spread so far in the NFL. I'm a little ashamed to say it, but I took Miami. I got in this particular game, Miami's favored by 3 points. So maybe there'll be a push there, but I'm rooting for the Jaguars. You know, it's hard for me to pick a team, the opponent that the Jaguars are playing. But I'm telling you, the Jaguars have a tough schedule. Especially the first 3 games with Miami, Cleveland, and Buffalo. And I hate picking against the Jaguars, but I'm going to take Miami to cover that 3 points, maybe win by 4. I hope I'm wrong. I took Miami Dolphins in the pool. I'm taking the Falcons over the Steelers. Atlanta's a 3-point favorite, man. I'm hoping, because I got him on my fantasy team, I hope Pitts, the former UF tight end, I hope Pitts will have a good game. Kyle Pitts, that's the guy's name, tight end from the Atlanta Falcons. He's probably a top 10 almost perhaps a top 10 tight end in the National Football League now. So I took Miami. I took Atlanta. I'm taking the Giants. Minnesota's a little unsettled at quarterback now. I'm taking the Giants. And Minnesota's a 1.5 point favorite. I'm taking the Giants in that one. New Orleans Saints, 4-point favorite over Carolina. I am taking this. I'm going to take Carolina, the worst team in the NFL last year, but I think they lose by 3 points. How's that for exact? I'm going to take Carolina. Cincinnati Bengals, I got them covering the lowly Patriots in Cincinnati. That might be chancy, but I'm taking Cincinnati to cover the 9 points with Joe Burrow. Chicago Bears, the Bears. I'm taking the Bears to cover the 4.5 points against the Tennessee Titans because I'm not a big fan of the dreaded Tennessee Titans, the way they walked in and finally started spending money. They grabbed Calvin Ridley. How could you give a guy $50 million guaranteed when he's probably at best a 1B receiver, more likely a 2 or a 3? And he's a 3, according to my executive producer. And he followed Brother Ridley. He followed Brother Ridley. Brother Ridley was at Bama, wasn't he? And that's how the executive producer knows about him. Big Bama fan. Crimson Tide with their big win over the Hilltoppers at Game 1. Whoa, Nelly, as the late Keith Jackson used to say. Man, I miss Keith Jackson. So I'm taking Cincinnati to cover the 9 points. A lot of people are going to pick New England there, but I'm going to take Cincinnati to cover it. I think they win by 11 or 12 points in that one. Arizona Cardinals and my executive producers, Buffalo Bills. I'm taking Buffalo to cover the 6 points with one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the National Football League. In Buffalo's Josh Allen. The Jaguars have linebacker/edge defensive end linebacker Josh Hines Allen. He's added his second name to change it up a little bit from Josh Allen, the quarterback of Buffalo. I'm taking Buffalo to cover over Arizona. Arizona, I don't think they're that good a team. I think the quarterback still has a lot to prove, Kyler Murray. I just don't think Arizona's a top flight team right now. I think Buffalo is. Buffalo's at home. The Bills Mafia. My executive producer is a secret member of the Bills Mafia, I believe. Buffalo Bills will cover the 6 points against Arizona. Houston Texans, man, I like their quarterback. Even though he's in our same division, C.J. Stroud gets rid of the ball so quick. And they've got him some weapons now. He's got a couple of good wide receivers. I think Houston will beat Indianapolis. Houston covers a 2.5 point spread at Indy. Get out of here, Colts. Get out of here. I didn't know where that was coming from. Yeah, hi, Mom. You know how the players used to always say, hi, Mom? I think my mom might be watching from assisted living. Mom, hang in there. I'll be by to see you. I'm going to go by and visit Mom. Hey, Mom, I'm going to go by and visit Mom this weekend. I sure am. Let me see what else we got. I didn't mean to out Mom that she's at assisted living, but she is, and she's doing okay. I'm glad to still have Mom around. Really am. Love to go see her. I take her things when I go over there too. Her favorite hot tea. She likes a certain hot tea. We'll take her some coconut water. Everything's G-rated. Hot tea, coconut water. And Mom likes a newspaper, the Jacksonville newspaper. I said, Mom, just go on bigjreport.com. That's a newspaper. But no, Mom wants that old style, sit down, open the pages. And if one time I got Mom a newspaper, and all of a sudden, like 5-10 minutes later, Mom starts ripping the paper up, finding what she wants to find, and she works a Sudoku and all that. And one time, Mom said one of the funniest things to me, 5 or 10 minutes after she's reading the paper, she says, where's the funnies? Where's the funnies? And she was dead serious about the funnies. That's true. Okay, so we got Buffalo Bills covering the 6 points at home against Arizona. I'm taking the Houston Texans over Indy. Houston's a 2.5 point favorite. C.J. Stroud makes a difference there with the receivers he's got, even though the game's at Indy. I'm taking the L.A. Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, baby. Oh, man. Jim Harbaugh with the LA Chargers. Will he win game one? I think he'll win. Will they cover the 3 points over the Raiders? I think they will at home. These teams playing out in Los Angeles, is that much of a home field? I mean, you got the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, as they call themselves now, playing the LA Chargers. There's probably be as many Raider fans there as Charger fans. Be like a Georgia Florida game, be about half and half from Raiders, Chargers. Now the Raider fans, the old Los Angeles Raider fans, even the Oakland fans, they're going to have a crowd there. The Vegas people that go to Los Angeles, that stadium would be packed. And there could actually be more Raiders fans than Charger fans of that game. I could be wrong. I'm going to take the Chargers to cover the 3 points that they're favored by. Take the LA Chargers to cover the 3-point spread with new coach Jim Harbaugh, and look for their quarterback to start. This is a big year for him, so look for him to start cranking it up. Denver Broncos at the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle's a 6-point favorite. I'm going to take Denver and Sean Payton. I believe he's that good of a coach. He's done some good things with Denver so far. Russell Wilson is gone. He'll be playing some younger players and a young quarterback. I'm going to take Denver to at least get under the 6 points that Seattle's favored by. Seattle is not that great. They're okay. They played better than expected in the last couple of years, but they're not the Super Bowl. They're not the Super Bowl contenders they were a few years back. Seattle's a 6-point favorite at home. They got a good home crowd, there's no doubt. But I'm going to take Denver to get under the 6 points. Seattle's favored by 6. I'm taking the Denver Broncos. Washington Redskins. Oops. I mean, Commanders. Washington, and they stole the name from my high school team, the Ed White Commanders. The Washington Commanders at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to take the old Bucks. And I'm not the biggest Bucks fan because when people go down to Tampa, what I'm told is if you got a Jaguars hat on, they kind of frown on that down in Tampa. That's what I've heard. Somebody told me that. Washington Commanders at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm actually going to take Tampa Bay to cover that one. And this one, I may be wrong on this. I may be wrong on all of them, but I got Tampa to cover the 3 points. I'm not a big Commander. Well, I'm not a big Washington football team fan. I think we've covered all the nicknames now. So I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers covering the 3 points against the Washington football team, or the Washington Redskins, or the Washington Commanders is the more current name. There's all kinds of petitions floating around wanting to get the team back to being called the Redskins. We'll see what happens. Time will tell. Man, you would think that the merchandise at Washington's changing nearly every year. They should be selling some merchandise, right? Washington at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to cover the 3-point spread because Tampa Bay is a 3-point favorite. Tampa's -3. Dallas Cowboys at the Brownies. I talked to a guy on Facebook. His name is actually Paul Brown, so that can't be his real name, but he's a guy from over in England. He's a friend of mine on Facebook, and he got some good memorabilia, does a podcast, and I shared with him our podcast, so he may be watching. Let's see. Dallas Cowboys at Cleveland Browns. Cleveland's a 2.5-point favorite. That is too much. Dallas has a good defense, but Cleveland has a good defense too. It's going to be a barn burner. I think the game might be decided by 1 or 2 points either way. And since the Browns are a 2.5-point favorite at home, I'm not sure Cleveland. Well, I'm going to get in trouble saying this, but I'm not sure when they play Cleveland. I'm not sure Cleveland's got a home field advantage with the dog pound. I said it. It's out there. Boy, the Browns fans are going to hate me now. Rams, LA Rams, and Detroit Lions. Detroit's got something cooking. They've got some offense up there. If they can ever just kind of put it all together, I think Detroit covers the 3.5-point spread at home. LA's not the team they were, say, 3 or 4 years ago. LA Rams at Detroit Lions. Detroit's a 3.5-point favorite. And JC, I'm going to go against our guy that's the GM, Les Snead, and I'm going to take the Detroit Lions to cover that 3.5-point spread at home. This may be a tough game too. New York Jets at San Francisco 49ers. 49ers a 4-point favorite. And both of these teams got good defenses, Jets and 49ers. You know, if you're drafting a fantasy football team, these defenses you want to have. 49ers and Jets. And I'm not even saying this is going to be a low-scoring game. Maybe two defenses will nullify each other and they'll put some points up. But I think San Francisco will cover the 4-point spread at home. I see the 49ers winning this game by 7 to 10 points. The Jets may keep it interesting for a while, but I think at home San Francisco eventually wins by 7 to 10 points in that area. Right now, San Francisco is a 4-point favorite in most circles, and I picked San Francisco to cover the spread. Also, that is the tiebreaker. That is actually the Monday night game at 8:20 p.m. That was the tiebreaker in the football pool. And there's a tiebreaker, total points. I got 48 points. You know, use that how you may. This is for informational purposes only. But I don't do bad on pools. I can tell you that. I know a little football. The only problem with pools is that, and I don't really bet on football. I might play a pool or even fantasy football for fun. There might be a buck or two involved at the most, and that's about it. But I got 48 total points between the Jets and 49ers. So what could that mean the score would be for the 49ers to cover the 4 points? That's probably the question. That's when algebra or mathematics comes into play. 48 total points and the 49ers cover that thing, right? Man, that's a mathematic question there. What would the score be? I'm going to ponder that. Both teams will probably be in the 20s. I'll say San Francisco 28, the Jets 20. Could be 27-20, but maybe the accurate score will be 27-21 San Francisco. We'll go with San Francisco 27, the Jets 21. And that, my friend, is your 48 total points. My survivor pick. This one pool's got a survivor contest where you pick one team to win. You think they're going to win, whether it's by 1 point or however many. Sadly, since I'm a Jaguars fan, I'm picking Miami as my survivor pick. I think that the Miami Dolphins do win this game, but hey, if the Jaguars lose this week, it's only a bump in the road. I'm expecting for the Jaguars a slow start where they go maybe 1 and 2 to start the first 3 games. They end up maybe 1 and 2, 1 win, 2 losses. But the second half of the season, the schedule gets a little easier. And I think the Jags still end up winning like 10 games, even getting off to a slow start. If they win 11 or more games, it's an outstanding season, and the Jags might have a shot at going far in the playoffs. But I think at least 10-7 in a playoff spot for your Jacksonville Jaguars. At 10-7, they could win the division. They could, or at least get a wild card. I'm picking the Jags 10-7. I'm hopeful they win 11, but I think it's going to be more like 10-7 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's our prediction. That's a look at some college football today. The Florida Gators host Samford. I haven't looked at the point spread. I don't even want to see that point spread. It's not in the pool. Florida should win that game by at least 10 points. 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns probably. And what's really sad, though, you see these comments about this defensive coordinator with the Miami Hurricanes said, hey, we knew all their plays. It's kind of what he said. He said, we took the top, 5 to 7 Florida plays, and we knew what they were. And I guess they tracked them, and then Florida ran them. And Billy Napier's got to get more imaginative with the offense because he's made the decision. He wants to call all the plays. I think they should have brought in a hotshot offensive coordinator probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I guess Napier's thinking, well, I'll just go down with the ship. I can't hire anybody because they're not going to be here long if I go down. I don't think you can look at it that way. I think he needs to put his best foot forward, win as many games as he can, and that's what he wants to do. He wants to win. Everybody wants to see him win. If he wins 7 games or more, he could stay because he's recruited okay. But when the opposing defense knows what you're going to do, the talent level kind of takes a back seat. Then I'm watching the film room with Shane Matthews, and he clearly shows a play where the wide receiver just does not execute the. I'm not gonna call the receiver out, but I was looking at the film, and Shane said, he should have planted his feet near the defensive back's feet and then take off and run, toward the left end zone. And he was too far inside to the right on the pass route. And, he didn't catch the pass, and he should have been moving more to the left, and he would have been a better target for a touchdown. So these are the things that I have seen. These are the things I hope Coach Billy Napier has digested, and he'll make his adjustments. We'll find out against Samford, and we'll also find out the following week at Mississippi State, which I believe Florida will win the game at home against Samford. But going to Mississippi State, at Mississippi State game 3, that'll be a big test. Texas A&M game 4 will be a big test. I believe UCF is in the 5th game. That'd be another test. Napier's got to start winning these games. These games I'm mentioning right now, he needs to win all these. He needs to smoke Samford by 2 or 3 touchdowns at least. Needs to go to Mississippi State and win by at least a touchdown. Needs to beat Texas A&M, and it may be a close one because Texas A&M looked pretty good even though they got beat by Notre Dame. And then after that, it's UCF. Man, he needs to win that in-state game. Oh, man. You remember the game 2 or 3 years back when UCF beat Florida in the bowl game? Oh, man. The Gator fans remember that. UCF remembers that. So college football, it's well underway. We haven't talked about all the games, but I'm taking Michigan, Syracuse, Arkansas, and Tennessee. Those are my 4 picks against the spread. In college football with the pool, I gave you the NFL games too. We'll come back a little later. This is the Teal Shirt Report podcast. We'll call this one episode show number 49C. Jaguars playing down in Miami against the Dolphins. I'm pulling for the Jaguars, man. I hope they can pull out a 1-point win, but it's going to be tough. And I keep hearing more about what a tough place, what a good home field advantage that stadium is down in Miami for the Miami Dolphins. We'll find out this Sunday. Kickoff this Sunday, September the 8th, 1 o'clock p.m. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the Miami Dolphins. In most circles, and when I did the poll, I guess the point spread was done 2 or 3 days before I did the poll. The Dolphins were a 3-point favorite when the poll was done, but most of the time when I checked the line, and I can we can check it here for the next live stream we do. But it's either been 3.5 or 3. I've seen the Dolphins favored by 3.5. Then when I saw the poll and it said -3, I said, man, I'm going to take Miami. It's going to be close. It's razor's edge close, but Miami's got the home field advantage. It's going to be a tough game. I think I just heard something in the last day or two. It looks like Jalen Ramsey, who I'm sure the Jag fans wanted to see against some of our new wide receivers, like Brian Thomas Jr., Gabe Davis. But now I'm hearing Jalen may not play. I don't know. Who knows? Sometimes they come out game day and they say, "Oh, my back is hurting. My shoulder's hurting." We've heard that before. So I don't think we may not see Jalen in this game. He is a member of the Miami Dolphins. And that's going to do it for this edition of the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Hey, we picked all the NFL games by the spread. About 4 of the college games. There's some other games that were not in the pool. The games that look interesting to me are games like Iowa State at Iowa. Texas at Michigan is going to be a big one. It's a must-win for Florida when they host Samford later today. And there's a lot of other college games, too, that we'll put our finger on later in the day. Thank you for tuning in to the TEAL Shirt Report podcast. We'll call this one episode show number 49C, right? 49C. You guys have a great day. Enjoy your college football Saturday. And that is a look at how I picked them. I'm 2-0 in the NFL from the Thursday and Friday night games. I'm not a big fan of the Friday night game. I'm barely a fan of the Thursday night game, but the Friday night, the fact the NFL would come in and say, "Hey, we're going to play on Friday nights." Why would they do that to all the high school football teams and schools across the nation? Friday night is supposed to be high school football night. Now the NFL is grabbing everything they can. They want prime time every night. I can go on about this forever, but I won't. I'm going to go ahead and stop. That's going to do it for the Teal Shirt Report podcast. You guys have a great day. Thank you for listening, and thank you absolutely for watching. Thanks to our executive producer, JC. I'm going to work on the lighting, the camera. We've got a lot of upgrades. We got to make it the Teal Shirt Report podcast at bigjreport.com. So hang with us. We're starting. The YouTube channel is new. We've only been doing YouTube for a few weeks now, a few days, few weeks. We got a lot of content up. Please subscribe to our channel, then you won't miss a thing, because we're going to have some good interviews coming up soon. I know I've talked about that, but we will. We're going to get it all worked out to do some good interviews on the Teal Shirt Report podcast, and different type of folks coming on. It's going to be entertaining, interesting, and we appreciate you guys being here on the Teal Shirt Report podcast at bigjreport.com. Oh, special thanks to our executive producer, JC. Also, want to thank Alex Nunnery, who's helping kind of share the YouTube channel out too. Thank you, Alex. And John Gaylor, our correspondent and contributor. I want to get the Ed White West Side score soon. They're playing right now as we speak. You guys have a great day. Thanks for tuning in to the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Have a great day.